How do you know if a modular home is the right fit for you, your family, and your future?
At the end of the day, I would ask myself one question. What am I looking to invest in? Are you looking to invest in peace, in freedom, in peace of mind? Or are you looking to invest in maybe possible headaches in the future, possible having to come back and fix things, just having to deal with the hassle of not having something made with the highest quality possible? I actually live in one of our homes.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And before this home, I was living in a mobile home. My bills was about $350 a month on electricity itself. We went from $350 to about $80 to $100 on a hot summer. Crazy. Most mobile homes, they do the cheapest insulation, which is like a roll-up insulation, right? Which is great, but they only do it in exterior walls. They're never gonna do it in interior walls. That's number one. Most mobile homes will have single pane windows. Modular homes, they will never put a single pane window. They're gonna try to keep it as low as possible for the customer to purchase. With that being said, their materials are going in it are gonna be as low as possible.
It just helps production out back know exactly what your change orders are.
Welcome back to the Tiny Home Podcast powered by Saddlebrook. Guys, I'm your host, Chris, and I am here with
Zeke, what's going on, guys?
Let's go. Hey, listen, Zeke and I have a very important topic today. And Zeke, I really want to ask you a question, dude, because there's a lot of speculation going around. Obviously, the market has been so unaffordable and people want a real home, okay? But when they go to these mobile home dealers, they market themselves as modular when they really aren't modular. Okay, so today I kind of want to bring up the conversation why modular is not a mobile home, Zeke.
Let me actually answer that question very simple. The biggest difference between a modular home and a modular home, and a mobile home is literally the chassis, right? So the mobile homes are going to be in a frame chassis on the bottom. And a modular home, it's actually going to be on a foundation, like a concrete foundation, stick-built modular home. That's what we call it.
And for the people who don't know, explain like what a chassis is.
A chassis is literally how it sounds. Same thing that goes in your vehicles, just in a larger perspective. So it's it's built on a metal platform. Literally like your cars, it's on a chassis. That's where the four wheels go and then the cab goes.
Now, listen, and to be honest, for everyone at home, this is not to talk down on mobile homes. I want to put a huge disclaimer. Mobile homes are a really great option.
Yeah.
For people who want them, for people who need a mobile home, for looking for something on the affordable side, on the very, very affordable side, sometimes cheap side, that is a very, very great option.
Yes, and honestly, like a lot of people that I actually talk to, were raised up in a mobile home. A lot of people have lived in a mobile home. However, that's why mobile homes gain a reputation over the years. Honestly, a mobile home in the 1950s is obviously built completely different than it's built now in 2025.
Right.
You know? However, their main audience or the main people they actually sell to is the affordable class, right? What does that mean? That means that they have to stay at a certain price, right? For them to sell more of.
And you know, this is something I actually talked on my last podcast. If you watched it, you would remember it. The problem is that you're not only cutting back on price, you're also cutting back on quality.
Well, you know, the simple saying, right? You get what you paid for. So if you're searching on the website and you go to Temu versus like Amazon, right? What are you going to get? What kind of product you should expect?
Absolutely.
You know?
No, you're right about that.
So same thing, go to the stores. You go to Dollar Tree or do you go to Walmart?
Yeah.
So it's very similar.
No, you did say a very great point. The main difference between a mobile home and a modular home is the chassis.
Correct.
Is the actual base of the home. Mobile homes are on wheels is what you're saying, correct?
Technically, yes, they could take the wheels off and all that good stuff. But super crazy fun fact that it blew my mind when I heard it. And maybe you know, maybe you don't know, is mobile homes, you actually have to go register them at DMV.
That's crazy. Yeah. And that's kind of wanted to talk about. Why do mobile homes get treated as DMV, like a trailer, like a car, like a RV?
Because technically, it's a movable mobile home.
Right.
It's a
So it's
movable.
movable. It's not permanent.
Correct.
Yeah. And that was kind of my next question is, how do banks, appraisers, and all those financial institutions, how do they appraise a mobile home versus how they appraise a modular home? Can you go a little bit into that?
That's a great question. So mobile homes, it's gonna depreciate more than anything, like a vehicle does, because of the actual what the category it fits into. However, a modular home is it's a home that's built like in a manufacturer, but once it's placed in its location and it's anchored down to a foundation, it's considered a stick built modular home.
That's what I'm saying.
So like it's no different that you build a pier and beam home. No different.
Right. And a lot of the questions I get, Zeke, talk about why, even if you block up our homes, right? Why do you still recommend a concrete foundation?
That's a great question. There's so many different questions I could go and tell you. However, the most important thing is dirt settling. So depending on where your location is, where your land is, and all that good stuff, there's different types of soils. There's literally, I've been working in very, very big dirt, like where we moved a lot of dirt, and dirt can be completely different from one location to another.
Talk about that. Like, what do you mean different dirts?
Like different dirts, meaning one soil could be very rocky, but the other one could be very clay, like have a lot of clay, or sandy. So depending on the types of soils, it settles different, especially with all that weight and all that good stuff. So when you put a concrete slab, the weight is distributed across the slab, which means that it's not like going to settle in one place more than another, right? So let's say your concrete slab is sitting in two different soil types, one being clay and one being rock. Well, the side that's in rock, if it doesn't have a concrete foundation, cannot settle, where the one in sand is actually going to shift, right? The earth actually moves, so no matter what, it's going to move. But if it's on a concrete slab, it's going to shift the whole house.
Yeah.
So let me put it in another perspective.
Listen,
Let's say this is your house, right? And you put just the concrete pillars on the bottom. Well, with that being said, and let's say one side is rock, another side being sand, well, the house can move.
Interesting.
Right?
So let me ask you a question regarding that. How come I've seen mobile homes on gravel or dirt? And how come, let's say, our homes, you recommend a concrete pad? Like, what's the difference?
Once again, it just depends on the actual customer.
Yeah.
Mobile homes don't recommend a permanent foundation due to the fact that they don't ask for or require when it comes to like financing, right?
Interesting.
However, modular homes, they more than likely want to be appraised as a house.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, the banks ask you have a permanent foundation.
Yeah, absolutely.
So concrete slab is considered a permanent foundation. Concrete blocks are not.
Yeah. No, I get it. And one of the things that I love talking about, Zeke, always when our customers come in, is let's talk about the build difference between a mobile home and like a modular home. You know what I mean? So like I always explain, the first thing people are shocked by, I don't know if you've had a customer like this, is they step into these homes and I don't know if the camera could catch my feet, but they're like stomping on the ground because they're seeing like, oh man, this floor joist system is actually very strong. What experiences do you have with a modular home and how they're built?
Okay, so the modular home, since it doesn't have a metal chassis, right? The actual flooring system is the platform for the house. So we need to transport it. We need to make sure that everything is going to be anchored to that flooring foundation. So depending on the house size, we use anywhere from a 2x8 to a 2x10, maybe even a 2x12. And then it's done at every 16 inches on centers. Depending on the location and depending on the customer, we could do double skids or the double basically.
Right.
So
What are skids for people who don't know?
So the skids would be the 4x6s on the bottom that actually keep everything together.
Gotcha.
And then on there, you got the floor joist system. So on a modular home, You put them 16 in center. Sometimes it's double. And then you do the whole layout there. On a mobile home, this is the crazy difference. On a mobile home, since they have a metal chassis where everything, the metal chassis is like the foundation, they could do 2x4s or they could do 2x6 and they're okay with that.
They're okay with that. Yeah.
Yes. If they do anything bigger, they spread it out wider.
And you know what? I've also heard stories. I don't know if you've heard stories of people saying, well, my wall studs, when I ripped my wall was coming apart of my mobile home and my wall studs were 1x3s, or my walls weren't actually screwed to the stud. They were stapled on the stud. Have you heard stories like that at all?
Yes, I've heard multiple stories. I mean, I can't tell you how many customers I've came in with, hey, I have a 2015 model or a 2018 model. I had one of my customers with a 2020 model, and they were having so many complications. One of the biggest complications were the electrical.
No way.
So with that being said, they were having a lot of problems with electrical. So they actually had quote unquote, they had some type of warranty from the manufacturer that they come and fix anything that was wrong, right? Well, they did come out and they started ripping up the walls, and they're literally everything inside was 1x. Like literally, it was not a 2x4. And then they're like, well, what about the main walls? They're like, the main walls, we cannot uncover them.
No way.
Not uncover. It's like, well, why?
Why wouldn't they want to uncover them?
And we came to a conclusion. I mean, this was me and the customer talking, right? We came to the conclusion that more than likely their walls are not, they're not 2x4s or they're not 2x6s. They're probably just something way smaller than that.
Right.
Yeah.
And then that leads me to another question. You see, one of our biggest selling points with modular homes is like the efficiency. Talk about cutting your utility bill by half. And it's crazy. If you have, in theory, 1x3 walls, how much insulation are you actually fitting inside a 1x3 wall?
That's a great question. And honestly, there's a big difference on a mobile home and a modular home. I actually have been living in both before. I grew up in a mobile home, and one of the biggest differences, let's talk about different components. So you're talking about insulation. Number one, most mobile homes, they do the cheapest insulation, which is like a roll-up insulation, right? Which is great, but they only do it in exterior walls. They're never going to do it in interior walls. That's number one. No, number two is they're going to try to keep it as low as possible for the customer to purchase. With that being said, their materials are going in it are going to be as low as possible, which brings me to the second thing, your windows. Most mobile homes will have single pane windows. Modular homes, they will never put a single pane window. They will always do double painted windows.
Yeah.
Right? And with that being said, just think about it. The insulation helps everything be reduced, right? It's like your vehicle. If you have the AC on and you have the windows down, well, it does no good.
Yeah.
Right?
That's true.
But if you have them up, I mean, it gets to a point where you don't have to have it at 4 or 5, right? You can have it at a 2 or a 1 and it maintains it.
Right.
Same thing in your house. Well, we run like mini splits, right? So let's compare apples to apples. If you have mini splits in your house and you have a mobile home, well, your mini splits are going to be at full blast all the time. If you have a modular home, your mini splits, you set them at 70 degrees and they're going to be running very efficiently. Crazy enough, I actually live in one of our homes.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And before this home, I was living in a mobile home. My bills was about $350 a month on electricity itself.
Gotcha.
We went from $350 to about $80
Oh, no way.
to $100 on a hot summer. Crazy.
Okay, talk about the mini splits component, because that's something interesting that a lot of people don't really know about. Even in mobile homes, they have a traditional HVAC system.
Yeah.
No hate, really great system. I like the HVAC systems personally. But these mini splits, a lot of people don't know what mini splits are.
Mini splits are a great component because they're efficient, they're easy to replace, and honestly, they're the newest things in the market as far as like the HVAC industries. With that being said, there's a lot of different components coming out. They're very inexpensive. Honestly, we were doing a little bit of Google search or Amazon search. You could find mini splits for anywhere from $600 to $800. Right? Once again, I don't know if they're good or not, but you can find a system for about $800. Okay. On the other hand, HVAC systems, number one, more than likely you don't know how to work on them, so you have to get a technician. Number two, if it does go out, you're out of luck with the whole house not having no climate control.
Anywhere in the house. It's kind of one of the biggest things I heard. Like if the HVAC system goes out, that's the whole system that cools and heats the whole house.
Correct. On the other hand, on AC mini split units, especially the way that we have them set up, we have one unit per bedroom or per location. Well, if one goes up, worst case scenario, you just open up the door and you get the cooling or the hot air or whatever you need, right? Another big factor is that HVAC, depending, not all the time it's cooling and hot. Mini splits are for you to run them 8 days a week, you know?
Right. And one of the biggest reasons why I brought this up is because you recently just said efficiency. You spent $350 in that mobile home, $80 on your modular. The biggest reason is insulation, but let's also talk about how you heated and cooled your house.
Yeah, same unit. Literally, it's your remote away from changing your temperatures. As a matter of fact, I think this is super cool. I'm the type of person that likes my house at about 75 degrees, right?
Hey, that's kind of warm.
Typically, right? My wife, on the other hand, likes to have it like 65 degrees. Okay. So with her being in the living room, 65 degrees, me being in the bedroom, 75 degrees sometimes.
Yeah.
It's like, it's awesome. You don't have to feel the same temperature all the way across the house.
Absolutely. I like that. And one of the biggest questions that I'm going to ask later on is, how do you know if modular is the right fit for you? But we'll hold off because that's a really great question. But check this out. A lot of our customers, a lot of the people that actually, and I mean, for you watching home, if this is something that you truly want, check this out. Let's say you're ready to retire. You had 4 or 5 kids. You live in a 3,000, 4,000 square foot home, but now it's only you and your wife or husband. When you have an HVAC system, well, number one, let's talk about, you're never going to clean a 4,000 square foot house, right? But that's besides the point. Number two is, dude, if you want heating and cooling because you're in the living room, if you live in the kitchen, living room, and your master bedroom, you're also cooling all the other rooms and upstairs as well, which is leading to just a waste in electricity bills, a waste in everything. How has, let's say, living in a modular home and running certain units at certain times changed your utility bill?
Crazy. So my house is a 1,080 square foot house. I have 4 mini split units. So I have one in each bedroom and one in the living room. Today, I only run 2 mini splits. That is all we need for the house. And it's a game changer. And then the other thing is, I've gone to like vacations and stuff. You could program your mini split to be on and off whenever you want it.
Can you actually?
Yes.
No way. That's cool.
So you can program it. I mean, in nighttime, you can program it to be on with 2 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours, just like the old fans. Remember the old fans? You could time them.
Yeah.
Same thing with the mini split units. HVAC has something very similar. Now they have like the Googles and stuff, all that good stuff. However, not everything has it. You know what I mean? So it's a big component. With that being said, the mini splits though, you can have one on for the whole house if you needed to. You don't have to have all 4 or 3 or 2 running. You can have one running. You can have all of them running. I mean, we've been in reunions where we have a lot of people over, and it gets a little warm. Just turn on the mini split, and you're golden. HVAC system, on the other hand, you have to wait for the whole unit, right? That's another interesting point. When, let's say you go out of vacation or you forget, you turn off the HVAC, right? You come back home. Well, you have to wait for the whole entire house to cool.
Yes. Hey, I have a story to tell. So me and my wife recently went on vacation, and when we came back, the thermostat, or what is it? The thermostat, right?
Yeah.
It's at 78 degrees.
Oof.
I put that thing down to 68. I'm not like you, Zeke. I'm not a hot type of person. I need it to be super cold, even in the winter. Can you relate? Like, if you like it cold, so you can put on like the
blanket. That.
But check this out. An hour passed, and my home was still not cooling to the level that I wanted it to cool. I was probably at 72, 71 degrees after an hour of cooling my home. And that's kind of one thing I noticed, because we do have a show model. If anybody wants to come, they can see our show models. And we have one mini split on. and those things start cooling instantly.
Instant.
Instantly. And I think that's such a great thing for people to know in terms of like efficiency. And that's kind of where I want to go next. Uh Talk to us about where in all the areas in our home is our home efficient, not only compared to a mobile home, but even compared to some of these new single family homes going up in big cities like cookie cutter type of homes.
So give me a little bit more context to that question.
Yeah, so check this out. Right now, we're talking about AC mini splits. We're talking about single pane, double pane windows. We're talking about insulation. Kind of educate the crowd more on what all those things really mean. What do you mean single pane, double pane? What do you mean insulation roll up versus the insulation we use? Kind of give more context to what all those things mean and how it actually helps the home be more efficient. Oh, also this. Let's talk about how our homes are fully electric if we want them to be, and how that helps with not having to use propane or gas or oil, which also jack up your utility bills.
Yes, those are all great questions. I mean, there's so many different components that we could talk about. However, to keep it plain and simple, is when you come to like a modular home, they're looking for the best in the market, right? What does that mean? They're looking for, I mean, it's kind of a gray area, honestly, where when we talk about modular homes, because not a lot of people are educated, right? Let's talk it in a bigger perspective is there's the traditional homes, there is a modular home, and there is a mobile home, okay? So with that being said, the efficiency on on a modular home has to be better than a mobile home to be on that subcategory, right? And then that's the case now, well, modular homes now is compared to a traditional home, right? What's the biggest difference? Well, there's not a lot of differences if you think about it, right? They're built the same for the most part. For the most part, they use very similar components and all this good stuff.
However, right now we're comparing traditional to modular.
Correct. However, how do modulars become better than traditional?
That's a. Do you sure you want to open up that topic on this podcast? That's a big topic.
Well, I'm just bringing this up because that comes to your question, right? How or why are we more efficient? Well, we need to compare apples to apples, but we need to be better than that other apple, right? Just have to. So we put better the insulation, spray foam insulation, which in traditional homes they want to go with the roll ups, just a little bit more cost effective. Which I don't blame them. However, we want to set ourselves apart. Right?
Absolutely.
We use spray foam insulation. You can use close cell, open site.
Talk about the difference between open cell and closed cell.
There's so many differences, and I just want to keep it kind of short, right? But closed cell is going to be the hard insulation. Literally, they spray it on, and you can't even like bust it at all, right? And you could do 1 inch, 2 inches, 3 inches, 4 inches, whatever you want on it, depending on the R factor you want to it. But honestly, we use 1 inch closed cell for most of our houses, and they're amazing. The next thing is the sprayed foam insulation, which is the open cell. That is the spray foam insulation that actually fills in most of the cavity of the 2x4, the 2x6, whatever the case might be. But that's the type of foam that you could actually literally push your finger right through it. It's a soft insulation.
Yeah, interesting.
Yes. And there's different R factors to it, and there's different pricing and all that. I would say I could confidently say that closed cell would be the top trending type of insulation there is.
I have heard that. Yeah, that's actually the most expensive, most efficient insulation on the market.
Correct. There's a lot of different technologies. We had a guy come and offer that the thermal something pads. You remember that?
I do remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
What is that? Thermal pad.
I honestly I don't know. It's a new technology they're trying to come out with. However, there's still nothing that beats the closed cell insulation until today.
Yeah. Talk about single pane versus double pane. What is that?
Okay, great question. So single pane windows are literally one piece of glass. So it could come in little bit different thickness. For the most part, it's about little less than a little over, let's say, than 1/8 of an inch, less than 1/4 of an inch, right? One piece of glass. When it's a double pane window, there's two pieces of glass put together, and there is like oxygen plasma. I don't know what they call it, but there's some type of liquid that goes in between them
Yeah.
that help conceal the cold or the hot.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I'm telling you, one of the biggest things that will cause the inefficiency of your home are the windows. Because
Yeah.
think about it. When we think about windows, these are holes being cut out to the actual frame of your house. Therefore, if there's a bunch of hot or cold air seeping through those windows, it's like you said, Zeke. Imagine being in the car and then rolling up your window and see how the AC and heat holds up, right?
Yes.
So
Well, that's a great point. Why do people tint their windows?
I don't know.
Right?
Yeah,
Just tinting the windows makes a difference. All right. Now imagine having two glasses put together.
absolutely. It's a huge game changer.
Game changer.
Dude, Zeke, this podcast has been so informational, bro. We're about to close it out with a bang. Are you ready?
Yes.
How do you know if a modular home is the right fit for you, your family, and your future?
That's a great question. At the end of the day, I would ask myself one question. What am I looking to invest in? Are you looking to invest in peace, in freedom, in peace of mind? Or are you looking to invest in maybe possible headaches in the future, possible having to come back and fix things, just having to deal with the hassle of not having something made with the highest quality possible? Whether that's a mobile home, whether that's a traditional home. The reason I believe modular homes are the top quality is because of the quality control that they go through. Right? So ask yourself these kind of questions. What do I want at the end of the day?
I love that.
Right? Modular homes are not going to be as cost effective as the mobile home in the short period of time. Now, looking at it on a longer perspective at a higher level is 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, 20 years down the road. What does that freedom look like? Right? Does it look like you actually have to repair things, or does it look like you're gonna have a home that went through fully quality checks, quality control checks? And then not only that, but now depending on the situation, there's companies that offer like lifetime warranty, right?
Yeah.
Just like us.
Yeah. Heck yeah. That's awesome.
It's crazy.
That's great. Lifetime warranty, peace of mind. That's what you're saying.
Peace
If
of
you're
mind.
looking to invest in peace of mind, that's the kind of the biggest takeaway I got from what you just said, peace of mind. So based off what I'm seeing, number one, you're getting a home that's literally built even better than the traditional stick built home because of what you said, our quality control.
Yeah, quality control. I mean, think about it. We have the way we have it set up is like different bays, right? And it moves from one bay to another. But realistically, the reason there is step by step.
Yeah.
Every step has to go through a quality control manager that double checks everything. It's crazy.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
It really is, because I don't know if you've seen, we're close to Dallas, guys, we're like 2 hours away from Dallas. We're not too far out. I don't know if you've seen those TikTok Zeeks of the inspector that just goes and rips apart every Dallas new build right now.
it's crazy.
And, it's what comes to my mind is it's all lack of QC. It's somebody not being supervised, therefore they didn't do their job right.
You know how it is. I mean, the construction industry it's I don't know how to say it. It could be very high end or it could be very low end. It's very hard to have something in the middle,
Absolutely.
right?
You're right.
It's hard. So,
True.
like, think about it. Like, people doing these things in the construction sites don't have no one to supervise them but their superintendent or their supervisor, whatever the case.
And sometimes it's one for every 30, 40 people.
Well, that's the thing. There's companies, like complete big companies that have 10 different crews, and there's one people on top of the 10 crews, right?
It just doesn't work.
So what happens when the supervisor is in one location? What happens with the other 9 locations?
That's what I'm saying.
So that's
Yeah.
that's one of the biggest things. Versus a quality controlled environment. Well, you have to have someone on site, especially when you're building so many homes like we do.
Absolutely. I agree with you, and that's very true. Zeke, you've definitely made amazing points. Listen, I know there's a lot of people watching right now who are on the fence of one of our homes. What do you say to those people? And my final question is, are you willing to let them know our September savings that actually incentivizes them to come buy their future investment and protect their money with one of our homes?
I don't know if I really want to say it on the podcast because these September discounts are absolutely phenomenal. All I could do, like, I do want to say this. I'm not going to say the amounts. I'm not going to say none of that because this is a podcast that will stay on. So I don't want to spoil it for anyone. However, right now we have a promotion going on. Number one, limited spacing, right? We just have a few spots open. It's not going to be for everybody. But in return, we're actually going to give them a, I don't know if I really want to say it. Okay, let me go back and tell you why we came up with this. Why this promotion, right? Literally, we made this promotion for a lot of people that live in decision phase. They're not ready in their minds, but they are ready, right? They are ready to buy, but they're not ready to buy. I could do it now or I could wait, right? That's kind of all the thoughts that are happening in people's heads. And the other thing was, I heard one time a guy tell me, I'm not going to do something that I do not get paid for. Right? So we were thinking and we were brainstorming and all this. It's like, okay, how can we actually help the people that live in indecision phase, right? And how can we actually make it for the customer to know that we understand their pain,
Interesting.
right? We understand the pain. Okay. Well, what we came up with is actually, if you come buy a home from us in the next 6 days, 7 days. Okay, I'm gonna say the date just because I want you guys to know and make sure it's put on concrete. September 6th, which is a Saturday, is the last day of this promotion. But when you do come buy a home, you're gonna get guaranteed money back in your pocket.
Wow.
Guaranteed. And we're not talking about like a discount or whatever. We're talking about cash money put back in your pocket.
True.
It's crazy.
It's insane. I love that, Zeke. Hey, listen, thank you so much for hopping on this podcast. It's been amazing. I know someone's going to get blessed from there. Dude, listen, if you enjoyed this podcast and if you enjoyed Zeke on the podcast, hey, let's give some love to Zeke for hopping on here. And guys, I will say, if this podcast resonated with you, please make sure to drop a like, drop a comment. And if you know somebody who is in dire need of a home or is in the indecision phase that Zeke talked about, consider sharing this podcast with them. Thank you guys so much for watching. It's been Chris and Zeke, and we'll see you on the next one.
Have a great day.